Chess YouTube, this is going to be a good one right here. Welcome to the first installment of Guess The Elo on my chess YouTube channel. Now, this game right here was sent to me by one of my students in my free online chess community. If you want to join that, the link is down below in the description of this video. It is school.com/chessmindset. Now, my student here is playing as white, and we analyzed this game together about 2 to 3 Saturdays ago, and the game was so instructive, I thought, you know what, let's analyze it here on YouTube as well. And as we go along, I want you to try and guess the ELO of both players for white and for black. My student was playing as white in this game, and this game was a lot of fun. So comment down below in the comments what you think the ELO of both players were in this game. All right, white opens 1e4, my student, black goes e5, then we have knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, knight c6, the 4 knights variation. So far, so good. Now here, the main moves for white are d4 and bishop b5, the 4 knights Roy Lopez, and the 4 knights, I guess, open variation. But instead, my student, in this game, he went bishop e2. Now, this move right here is a little bit of a mistake. It's a little bit passive, and maybe white intends, for example, d3 and castles, but if he does that, this bishop on e2 will be trapped inside the pawn chain. For example, if black wastes a move, say a5, and white goes d3, here, this bishop, it will be trapped inside these pawns, making it a quote-unquote bad bishop. Therefore, this move, bishop e2, is simply not the best in this position. Now, fortunately, his opponent did not punish this. The best way to punish this is simply d5, opening up the game, and black here would be a tiny bit better already on move 4. Now, instead of that, black played the move bishop c5. And fortunately, my student watched my videos earlier and knew exactly how to punish this move from black. The problem with this move is here, white has a beautiful tactical shot, and my student actually finds it on the spot. Here, he plays the move knight takes e5, a very, very strong move. What is the idea? Don't worry, you are not giving up the knight. It is not a clean piece sacrifice. The idea is, if black takes this knight with, say, knight takes e5, then we go d4, forking the bishop and the knight. For example, knight takes d4. And here, black, he's losing either the bishop or the knight. Let's say black goes back, bishop d6, d takes, bishop takes. And from here, white has a small advantage. He has slightly better center control. His pawn on e4 is quite strong. White can castle, go bishop g5, queen d2, d3, whatever he wants. And overall, white here is a little bit better. So this move, knight takes e5 on move 5, is a very, very, very good move for my student. Now, in the game, black did not recapture with knight takes. That is the best move for black. Instead here, black actually went for the move bishop takes f2. So white is giving up one piece, and now black is playing a counter piece sacrifice. Very wild stuff. Here, white takes, black takes back. And in this position, white has a few different ideas. The two best moves are d4 and rook f1. Now, d4 is by far the best move. You drive back this knight and threaten e5 on the next move. For example, d5, knight g6, and then e5, d4, then e5 is very, very strong for white. Now, the other good move is simply rook to f1. The idea being you're setting up king g1 ideas, and your king will be artificially castled, and you do have very good control of the open f file here, and your pawns on e4 and soon to be d4 are quite strong as well. It's sort of a dream variation of a king's gambit opening for white. Now, instead of that, in the game, white went rook e1. Now, this move is also decent. It has the same idea as rook f1. You're trying to go king to g1, artificially castling the king. But overall, with the open f file here, the rook was a little bit better placed on f1 over e1, but not a bad move either. Now here, black goes d6, white goes king to g1, and here white's doing well. White has good control of the center. He can go d4, maybe even e5 soon. Black's king is stuck on e8. White's castled. Overall, white is doing very, very well here. Now, in this position, black plays a very, what's the word for this? A very aggressive idea, h5, the alpha 0 attack. Now, in the game, white did not know what this move was. He didn't know what was happening, and really the idea here as black is going to keep his king on e8 stuck in the center of the board, and black's actually going to go knight g4 at some point, threatening ideas like queen to h4. For example, if white wastes some moves, a3, knight g4, a4, queen to h4. this is sort of what black is going for. And here, if white takes on g4, black can recapture with, say, the knight or even the h-pawn, opening up the h-file. So this is sort of what black is trying to accomplish. He's trying to launch a knight onto g4, and if white ever takes, black can always take back with the pawn, opening up the h-file, and that is why black wants the rook on the h8 square and why he cannot castle. Now, the drawback of this move, h5, there's a very serious drawback. First of all, black, he really cannot castle on the king side later in the game. If he does that, this square on g5 is going to be so weak, and bishop g5 at some point will be super annoying. And beyond that, the pawn on h5, obviously, if black castles, let's say white goes a3 and black castles, obviously then this pawn as well would be hanging on the spot. White could capture it. So with the move h5, black is committing to keeping his king in the center of the board, a very risky idea. Now here, white plays a very strong idea. I absolutely love this stuff. d4, responding to a flank attack with an attack in the center of the board. That is by far the best way in general to respond to a flank attack, attacking in the center. I absolutely love this. Just good classical chess right here. And once the knight moves, white can also threaten e5, trying to open up the center of the board even more. Now here, black goes knight e to g4. A decent idea. What are black's other ideas? Black can also go knight g6 or say knight c6, but no matter what black does, white can simply go bishop g5, pinning this knight on f6 to the queen on d8, and also capitalizing on the weakened g5 square. So whatever black does, you can just go bishop g5 here. It's very strong. So in the game, knight e g4, that is black's main idea. Of course, now if white takes on g4, black always has the option of recapturing with the h-pawn. That is, again, black's main idea here. But instead, bishop g5, very strong move from white. Now white is technically threatening e5 in certain lines, trying to attack the pin piece on f6. Now, what can black do here? Well, it turns out the best plan for black is possibly castling queenside. For example, bishop e6, h3, c6, queen d2, queen c7, and black maybe wants to castle queenside. And white here, white almost never wants to go h6, g4, as that is quite risky. Black can open up the h-file. Instead, we just develop, say, rook d1 and so on, and trying to open up the center. Now, in the game, instead of that, here, black, my student's opponent, he went for the move knight takes h2. This move here is kind of insane, but it lays a deadly trap. And white here, white actually fell right into it. Now, what is the problem with this move? Well, the biggest problem with the knight on g4, black was controlling the e5 square, but after knight takes h2, white actually has two very easy ways to win on the spot. The first way is going to be e5. Just attacking the pin piece. And again, with this pawn on h5, black cannot go h6, challenging the bishop, and therefore black is losing this piece and maybe even this piece later as well. White is completely winning. Now, the other idea that also wins is bishop takes f6. Here's why. After bishop takes, the queen is under attack, black must recapture, and then you just take the knight. King takes h2, and here white is up a piece. He's completely winning. Black is just done. He is cooked. Now, in the game, instead of these two options, instead of, say, e5 or bishop takes, in this position, white went king takes h2. Now, what's going on here? What is the problem with this move? Well, here, black plays the very strong idea, knight to g4. Now, this knight on f6, it was pinned to the queen. However, if you go knight g4 with check, you can actually get away with this. Now here in the game, white took on g4, bishop takes, a decent idea. And here as black has a winning idea right here to basically almost win the game on the spot. And he actually missed it. So here, pause the video and try to find the key idea for black right here. Now here, the key idea for black, you just take this bishop, h takes g4. And here's the idea. You take this bishop, but you also hit the king with check on h2. The king has to move, say, king g1, and then you take this bishop. And here, black gets everything he wants. He gets the open h-file to attack with. He threatens, say, g3, then perhaps queen h4, queen h2, checkmate. Ideas like that. And here, how can white defend? It's actually very hard. It's very hard to stop the idea of, say, g3 and just a mating attack. And beyond that, black can go bishop d7, long castles, and so on. And the attack is just so dangerous. Now, instead of all this in the game, black went queen takes g5. And this is just a blunder. And here, my student, he capitalizes on the mistake. He punishes black. He goes bishop takes, rook takes, king g1. And now look at this. Here, white is simply up a piece in this crazy middle game position. And here, black's attack is coming to a screeching halt. Black does his best. h4, the alpha 0 pawn enters the game. Queen to f3, h3. Obviously, this pawn on g2 is pinned to the king. Therefore, g takes is not even a legal move. Therefore, white goes g3, not a bad idea at all. Black goes h2 check, hitting the king. White goes king to f2, getting off the back rank. And now, the rooks on e1 and a1 do control h1 sufficiently, as does the queen. Therefore, h1 promoting to a queen is not a threat yet. Now here, white is up a piece in this middle game, but again, at this level, I don't want to say the ELO. Again, guess the ELO down below in the comments below. But at this ELO, anything can happen despite white still being up a piece. Now black goes queen d2, hitting the king. White goes rook e2, a good move. Then queen g5. And here, white plays a series of brilliant moves. I just love this. Attacking chess, classical chess, opening up the center. Obviously, black's king on e8 is so vulnerable. And all white has to do here is just blow open the center. And that's exactly what he does. e5, an excellent move. If black takes, white takes back with the rook and wins the queen. Therefore, that is not an option at all. Black goes king to f8. Now white, e6, threatening queen takes f7, checkmate. Another good move. Black goes f6, the Ben Feingold counterattack. That is not enough because white goes e7, hitting the king. King to e8, and now knight d5. The knight enters the game as well. I just love this stuff. All right, c6. Knight f4, c5. Black is trying to get some sort of counterplay here. Obviously, if white captures, black can take back with the queen, and maybe black can get some sort of attack going. So here, white goes d5, keeping the game closed. I love this stuff. Black goes c4, white goes c3. I guess guarding c3 idea is not a bad idea. It wasn't completely necessary, but here, white's still winning, so not a problem. Black goes b5, trying to get counterplay. And here, knight to e6. Look at this square for the knight. That knight is officially an octopus, hitting the queen, hitting g7, and guarding all of these squares as well. Beautiful stuff. All right, queen to h6 is the move, dropping back. Now, rook h1. The rook slides over. Queen to g6. Knight f4, hits the queen. Queen f5. Knight g2, maybe intending knight h4 or e3. Both good ideas, pressuring the queen. Now queen g5, knight e3, rook c5. Black threatens the pawn on d5. And now white goes queen g2, dropping back. Now queen h6, knight g4, hits the queen again. Queen g5, knight e3, queen h5. And here white finds a very strong idea. g4, the g-pawn now enters the game as well. White is just attacking nonstop. All right, queen h4, king f1, queen g5, knight f5. And here black makes just a blunder. Rook takes d5. This simply loses the rook. There's no compensation. Queen takes d5. Queen takes g4. Now queen a8 hits the king. King f7. Knight takes d6. Hits the king again. King g6. And queen takes h8. So here, white is up. Let's see. 2 rooks, a knight, and this crazy strong pawn on e7. White is just completely winning. However, black actually managed to find a way to fight back. Queen f3 hits the king. Rook f2, queen takes h1, king e2, queen d5, e8 promotes to a queen. White has 2 queens here, absolutely nuts, but black fights back, king g5, and here white can go simply queen h5, and that is checkmate. Actually, either queen to h5 is checkmate, but white goes queen takes h2, and here, believe it or not, black has the chance to get a draw by repetition. As you can see, the computer says 0.00, meaning equal if black plays perfectly. Black goes queen d3, good move. King e1, queen b1 check, king e2, queen d3. Now, obviously, if the king goes back to e1, it's a draw on the spot. Therefore, white has to play something else. King e1, queen b1, king d2. Again, king e2 would be a draw. Now here, black If black plays the move queen takes b2, it actually leads to a draw. It's very complicated. Now, instead of that, black goes queen to d3 check. And here my student finds the winning move. Obviously, it's not king e1, queen b1, it would be a draw. My student plays the winning move, king to c1. Brilliant stuff. Drops back. Now black goes b4, trying to attack. Decent idea, but finally, queen h to h5 delivers the checkmate to the king. Brilliant stuff. All right, what's the big takeaway from this game? Well, the reason I wanted to show it is this move way back here, h5 from black. I see this a ton in my own online blitz games around 1900 ELO on chess.com. I see it a ton from white and from black. Black's idea, obviously, he wants to plump a minor piece down on g4 and threatens some sort of attack. And if white ever takes that knight, say with the bishop, black opens up the h file and gets the h file for the rook. And even if you go h3, let's say I go h3, even here, black can still go knight g4. The point being, after say h takes, the attack is very, very scary for black. So, whenever you see this, first of all, just know, whenever you see h5, first of all, know this move is connected with the idea of attacking on the king side at all costs. The king will stay on e8. If the king castles, this pawn on h5 becomes incredibly weak, as does the g5 square in general. Therefore, black really can't castle. So what you want to do here, as white, is counterattack in the center, as my student did, with an idea like d4, drive back the knight, then bishop g5, capitalizing on the weakened g5 square. So excellent stuff. White's threatening ideas like e5 potentially. Very, very, very strong. So really a fantastic game by my student. And if you made it this far, let's see. I will reveal it. My student in this game, in this rapid game, was rated 973 ELO, so about 1,000 ELO online. So if you're curious what 1,000 ELO chess looks like, this is about it. A very well-played game by my students. So anyways, Chess YouTube, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, comment down below what you thought of the game. Smash that like button. And if you want to learn directly from me, as my student did in this game, I do have a free chess community. I offer free group coaching lessons, a free growing chess course, free access to me via DMs, and so on. So if that sounds good to you, join my free community. The link is down below in the description for this video. And as always, I wish you the best of luck in your chess improvement journey in 2025 and beyond. And I'll see you in the next video.